faith, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land, what a day, glorious day that will be. Be seated, please. Okay. Now let's continue study the book of Genesis. Turn to 2 Peter chapter 2 from verse 4. 2 Peter chapter 2, start from verse 4 to verse 9. To verse 9. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 to verse 9. Okay. For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved for judgment. 5. And did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, one of 8 people, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the word of the ungodly. 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them to destruction, making them an example to those who afterward would live ungodly. 7. And deliver righteous Lot, who was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked. 8. For that righteous man, dwelling among them, tormented his righteous soul from day to day by sinning and hearing their lawless deeds. 9. Then the Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust under punishment for the day of judgment. Continue to 10. And then especially those who walk according to the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise authority. They are presumptuous, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignitary. 11. Whereas angels who are greater in power and might do not bring a reviling accusation against them before the Lord. This whole section, it mentioned about how God will judge the unrighteous. Not only our human being, but also the spiritual being. Right? So angels who sins, and then God casts them down to hell, deliver them into chains of darkness, to be reserved for judgment. So we know this is a great judgment day to come. And we will see all the unjust receive what they're supposed to have. And the righteous will also be rewarded. In chapter 7, he mentioned Lot was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked. From the author, the view of the author, you consider Lot was a righteous. Why? Because he have a conscience to separate from them. But, however, since he lived there, his heart was tormented from day to day, seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. You just imagine, if you has been surrounded by the wicked people, they just curse. Whatever they say, they just out of the dirty word. And their talking, their conversation, always about wickedness. If you really want to live a godly life, how can you survive? Right? So there's a way, at least one way to do, escape from there. Move out. Right? If the environment is going to give you a bad influence, then the best way is away from them. So in Proverbs and also in book of Job, mentioned the righteous, a perfect man, fear God and then shun away from evil. So we have to take action to escape, run away. Don't just continue to live there, because you know that the end it definitely will come. Right? So Lot himself being greatly influenced by their thought, their thinking. Maybe he didn't realize his mindset has been changing more toward to the Sodomites. His heart, he wanted to do good. He know God is righteous. They are wicked. But this is actually a matter of timing only. When the time extended to longer, Lot eventually will just be like them, definitely. Because our determination, once we get older, your determination, your mind become not as strong before. Okay, so that's why when you getting older, your heart getting softer. You are not going to insist your principle. So if you have, in the future, if you have a child, don't let your parents to take care of your child, because their heart is much softer than you. As a grandma, grandpa, they don't consider that is necessary to be harsh. But as parents, it's different. Parents always, you have a responsibility. So, brother, sister, in the future, you could be a father, you could be a mother. Okay? Once we have a child, take the responsibility, because this, as a parent, you do need to educate your own child, not just give it to grandparents, because their way and their heart is not as strong as you, as a young. As a young man, you sometimes you can insist and do things, and the child will follow you because you are parents. But as a parent, as grandparents, it's different now. If I don't know, maybe some of you has been raised up by your grandparents, okay? But you compare, because you are in your life already. But from the third party or as a preacher, to observe our members, all of the different families, and our members' personality, and also the way of their faith, we have a very clear picture. Those who been raised up by the third generation, by the grandparents, their life, versus to really parents educate them, their style, their thinking, their faith is very different. It's very different. So when we come to the time to consider marriage, if you decide to have your own child, own children, you need to make a plan to raise your child your own. You cannot excuse say, I have to make a living and I have to earn money, so I don't have time to take care of my child. There is not an excuse at all. Because if we say so, means we consider money is much better or greater than life as soul. Okay? If we earn the whole world, but in the end lost the life of child, or they cannot be saved, or they end up eventually sin against God, and then they cannot be saved into eternity, what is the purpose of earning the whole world? You consider what Jesus said. So when we say, if one get the whole world but lost life. What is the purpose, right? Also consider to about our own life. If as a parents being rewarded as a children as an inheritance, then we have to take care of the child. Parents must carry out the responsibility. So there's no way say, I am too busy. If this is the case, then don't consider have a child. Otherwise, the child will be suffer. Okay? So when we consider marriage, you must already have some idea. If eventually God give a couple a child, a children, how are you going to raise them up? And then how are you going to spend time with them to help them become also someone really fear God and know the value, what is right, what is wrong. And always consider the law, God is the center. If we are lacking something, pray and ask God, put God first, and God will provide. And sometimes we have to readjust our lifestyle. Life is dynamic, actually. Life, as a youth, are flexible too. You can live in that way or another way, right? We can live in different level or different standard. Not necessarily say I have to always live in that luxury level, right? If you have to lower down your living standard in order to raise kids and educate them in the church, to fear God, that is worthy. That is worthy. Because this way means we really fear God and we put God first. Okay? So Lot, eventually, he can commit the even greater sin, right? Because this evil things happen between himself and the daughters. Just cannot imagine. And the Bible says he didn't know anything. This totally, I just cannot imagine. If someone drunk that degree and then what he did, have no idea. I don't know, it's very, very weird to me. But it reflects the person, the sensibility and the conscience is just like a dead man. Okay? Otherwise, today, if you have done something wrong, how come you have no idea? And you just like a dream, you don't have any sense about what has been done the last night. So this is the problem. Consider the Lot and his family. So consider the influence of wickedness. Chapter 19, verse 14 to 15. Flip back to Genesis chapter 19. His thought has been influenced. Right? Sorry. 14 to 15. Okay, 14 and 15. Okay, can sister? Okay, sister. I haven't called someone to read. Vivian, please read. 14 and 15. Finish, right? Okay. 14. Now, the son-in-law, these two son-in-law, the Bible consider they are going to marry Lot's daughters. Right? They consider what Lot said is just like a joking. So to them, say the destruction is coming. This is impossible. And also reflect what Lord said has no credit at all, right? So if we really are a true person, whatever we say is true out of our heart, then people will take it seriously. So, brothers and sisters, don't be too casual, sometimes joking around. Especially you have to be careful. If we say we need to have some kind of humor, or 幽默感, it's right. But don't use the joking and so-called low level of the humor. 不要讲那个低级的那个幽默。So our mouth, we use our mouth to praise God, and we ask the Lord to listen to our prayer, and we intercede for others. Our mouth is very important. So don't say things it's not appropriate, So otherwise, our word will become ineffective, and just maybe become empty word. As a godly person, we have to always keep our mouth clean. That's what Bible said. Right? Prophet Isaiah, when he saw the vision, the glory of God, and then he immediately realized he dwelt among of the ungodly person, and his life is full of the filthiness. He considered he is unworthy. Right? So let us be careful about our word. And so if you look verse 15, and then you find out, even Lot himself have doubt. No wonder what he said, his son-in-law didn't believe. Okay? If you say something, you personally, you yourself don't believe, it's just empty. Not effective at all. Just like if we preach to others, but you don't consider this church, this salvation is so important, you yourself still have doubt, then your preaching is powerless. So make sure we have very confidence about what we believe, and we live out what we say. So the message will become effective and powerful. Okay? All right, let's continue. How about Lot's wife? Right? Lot's wife. I just assume you all read the story, so I don't cover verse by verse. So hope you know we are studying the book of Genesis. Now, if you have free time, please read the Bible. When you have no homework, that means you can just spend time to chatting and then just go around, hanging out there, walking, relax. No, this is not the case. If you do not have homework to do, then find time to read Bible. Who is really have heart in this NYTS? Who? You come in, you study Bible, you do homework, not because someone asked you, but if you have free time, you really treasure this time, and then you want to equip yourself, then you read Bible yourself. And you ponder, if through these years in your faith, or according to your Bible reading, if you have any doubt, any questions, you can ask. Use this perfect time, 5 or 6 preachers here. Right? If you have any question, no matter it's doctrines, no matter it's your life, or no matter it's your Bible reading, the question you cannot get resolved, you take this opportunity to ask. So far, we haven't seen, some brother sister have some kind of question, just approach the preacher to ask, what is this Bible talking about? But in the past, it did. The previous generation, NYTS participants, some really put effort. They want to know the truth better. So some will just proactively approach the preacher and especially ask, can you explain to me this passage? I don't get it. But this kind of the fervent heart, heart of learning, now is disappearing. We become passive because what? Because the counselor or the instructor didn't give us homework. I don't know what to do. So I have free time, so I can check in, and then just be ensnared with some kind of emotion, our feelings, or our interpersonal relationship. It becomes an issue. What a waste of time. Take time to read Bible. Then if you read it, you really ponder it, then in the class, then you know the point very easily. Okay? So if you read chapter 19, you know. What is the problem of Lot's wife? She is a warning, right? She, on the way to the refugee, she turned around. Why she wanted to turn around? Out of curiosity? Just want to know what's going on? Or she just cannot let go of what she already accumulated the whole life. Maybe treasures, right? The precious stone, money, house, everything. And she just cannot imagine, this is all gone, become ashes. Okay? So, in Luke chapter 17, verse 32, Lord Jesus special mention, remember Lot's wife, right? Remember. You have to consider. So her heart has been attached to the world, to the city of Sodom. She was a captive of the Sodom already. So the angels especially reminder them altogether, escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Okay? Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Yes, they are out of the cities. Okay? But his wife looked back behind him, and then she became a pillar of salt. Can you imagine the scenery? When Lot and his two daughters witnessed suddenly the mother, the wife, just become a pillar of salt. What is the shock, right? Because now angels lead them out of the city and then instruct them, you run for your life, right? But unfortunately, this wife, this mother, now she perished. Consider this is a miracle, and this is great punishment. And whatever God delivered the message to angel, true, right? Even though this is the message from the angel, not from God directly, but this is what God said. Okay, and someone did not take it seriously, and then this is the consequence. If our heart deeply attached to the word, and could be the consequence, because we cannot let go. Because we will consider, sabota. You just cannot let go because your heart is there. But in the beginning, if we set our heart in heaven, then it becomes easy, not an issue at all. So at this moment, at this age, set your aim, your goal in heaven. Yes, now on earth, we do need to have a job. We need to be educated. We have our work, so-called dream work to spend time with. Yes, it's good. But don't put your heart, your goal is only on the earth. Eventually, you become ashes, and then you regret. Set it in heaven. So if you earn money, if you have some money in your pocket, don't just spend it for yourself. Offer to God. Support the church ministry. Through this way, we accumulate our wealth in heaven. So in this generation, Since we have been blessed with good job, we have a high income. Don't just use your high income to indulge yourself, to enjoy your orderly life. Consider to offer to the church, to support a certain ministry. Today, if we want to accomplish a lot of church projects, we do need the financial power. Where it come from? Come from our offering. Every penny in TJC come from our church member offering. We do not have any business, just like other denominations. Every single penny come from our members' offering. If everyone really offer tithe, our financial power will be very strong. Do you know how other denominations they perform this offering tithe? Some denominations, if you register, then they ask you have to. This become mandatory. If you don't offer tithe, someone will go to your place to collect it, to knock at your door, and then this month you didn't offer tithe yet. Please write a check, and how much? Because the church know how much you earn, you know. So, but to TJC, it never be the case. Every offering out of your free will. Nobody will know how much you earn, how much you offer. As a preacher, I never know member who is offering tithes or who not. I don't need to know, right? But you know, if you have offered tithes, you know. But you don't, you also know. But if we start to earn money, we got the wages, and then we have been blessed with abundance, let us offer to the Lord. This is the way how we store our wealth in heaven and become riches in faith. Okay, so our life will not become empty. Will become so blessed, because once you offer your money in, then you will consider, you will take care, you will put your heart and know what's going on in our church ministry. I want to make it better, right? Let us set our goal here. You know, after you finish your school, then you find a job, earn money. Remember, offering is a channel to be blessed even more abundance. Don't be stingy to the Lord. Be generous to the Lord, then you will be given even more. Guarantee. Don't try to count the percentage. You know, if you really, just like an accountant, every penny, percentage 10%, oh, this is exactly how much. Don't count this way. Be generous. God never let you 吃亏. We have one brother. When he has money, the first month he offered totally 100%, because he was so grateful because God gave him the job. And later, he offered whatever he received. It didn't count about tax, right? Raw income, over 10 tithe. You know, God reward the brother even better. Later, he changed another job. God increased his wages 50% more. Can you imagine? So whatever he offered, God covered, recompensate even more, greater. And every time he practiced and he experienced how God blessed his life. This is, you know, once you experience it, you know this is the way to be blessed. Okay. So this is the lesson we have to learn. Okay. How about Lot's daughter? Even worse. So you see the different generation, right? Lot and his wife. Lot and his older generation, but daughters. these two daughters, they are younger. Their sensibility, their conscience even weaker than the parents. They do not have any sense of shame. Their moral standard even lower. I just cannot imagine. What is the excuse of their reasoning? Say, oh, now we live in the mountain, in the cave. No one will come to us. How can we have someone to marry and reproduce our descendants? How? Brother, sister, what is your resolution? If this is your case, what are you going to do? Yes? Say out loud, I didn't hear. Okay. Yes. Yes. It's out of cave. Right? God didn't limit to say you can only live in the mountain. God said you better escape because the destruction is coming, right? So you don't remain in the city. You escape for your life, right? But later, now you have a new life. You came down the mountain and find a different place to live. This is so simple, but they are so stubborn. And you consider, oh, there is no way. And then they come up with these wicked ways. Right? Can you imagine if our TJC member becomes so stubborn? No way. Right? So their thought. The older one, the firstborn, said to the younger. The older sister said to the younger sister, oh my goodness. You see how the older one, supposedly to be the leader and a good example, but the older one now provided the wicked idea to the younger one. Can we learn the lesson? So if some of you you have siblings, I think some of you are the only child in a family, right? Some of you are the younger, and some of you are the firstborn. Who are the firstborn? Raise your hand. Firstborn. Thank God. Okay, you are firstborn. Firstborn means you must be a good example. Okay, good example, and also give your younger brother sister a good advice, good suggestion, good way to think about to follow. Don't be a bad example. So firstborn is very important. I always talk to our brethren, the young couple. If God brings you more than one child, but once you have a firstborn, right? Firstborn. The firstborn is very important. Put effort to educate the firstborn. If firstborn is on the right track and really live a life of godliness and really spend time with God and read Bible, the younger one will follow. But if the older one doesn't care, like the world and just the worldly things, it's very hard for the younger one to follow. So parents, that's why firstborn is the young couple. The young couple is the first time to be a mother or father. Oh, strange. I believe if you are the firstborn, you must have the most pictures, videos, all the so-called the memory. Your parents treat you so well. All the good things come to the firstborn. And then you are the second one, sorry. And then the third one, one brother said, he raised his boy, the third one, just like a pig. Just throw food there. You eat, otherwise, that's your business. You don't eat, that's fine. Don't care. If you don't eat it, then your brother or sister will take it up anyway. So usually the third one, they realize their status. So they know how to survive. So it becomes easier to raise up. 很好养. Okay? So firstborn is very different. Yes, you are first one. You are so blessed, right? Because you have 3 older than one than you, right? And you also have another younger one. So you have brother sister, right? 有哥哥姐姐还有弟弟妹妹，哇 so good. So firstborn. But since you already receive a lot of love from parents, you also have a responsibility too. Don't forget. So remember, when we receive love from others, we always consider how are you going to repay. This is the way we show our appreciation. So when we say we honor our parents, not just say, during the Parents' Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, give a words, I love you, or a car, or treat them a good meal, and fancy banquet. This is not the case. The most important is honor them, consider them, take care of them. Yeah? Know their emotional need, right? And you really concern about their life. It's called firstborn. Now, consider this big sister. She initiated this wicked idea, right? And then she take the first step to do their actions. So they make their father drink wine, and then the night, bad thing happened. Then again, the second night. So the consequence. See, this is sometimes the timing. Just 2 nights. Then these 2 daughters all become pregnant. And sometimes the couple, they try very hard in order to make the wife conceive, right? And to become pregnant. Somebody, this just, they cannot bear a child. But this type become incest, right? But now these 2 people, 2 races just come out. Eventually, in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 3, those who excluded from the congregation of the children people of God. They are somehow related to Abraham, but no more, sorry. They are the seed of the immoral adultery. Actually, it's even worse. Incest. Okay. Let us learn and also be aware of this influence of society. Now, it becomes even worse than before. In the past, the people consider something shameful, very shame. But now, they turn it become, this is my right, and I'm so proud of myself. So that's why the ending is coming. If we look at the Bible, then you know the final judgment definitely is nearer than before, much nearer. So the Lord is just right at the front door. Okay? So are you going to just put all your heart, your effort on this word? Think about what a day is come. If just the something unexpected, the war or the destruction just come, are you going to survive? Are you going to be confident, be received into heavenly kingdom to see our Lord? Or you become trembling? No one have guaranteed to live until old age, okay? Always consider, what if my end is tomorrow? But in reality, Lot and his family been saved out of the Sodom. The factors that caused Lot to be saved out of the destruction. First, according to 2 Peter chapter 2, he has a heart. His heart was tormented from day to day by seeing and hearing their lowliness. This. God acknowledges the heart of Lot. Okay? This is very important, but because 2 Peter, the author already mentioned it. We have to honor, yes, he has a good heart. He did not want to be like them. But the influence is there already. From day to day, every moment, whatever he heard, whatever he saw, is all the wickedness. And this is, I think it's very hard. But he became powerless. Now, he dwelt among them. He didn't take actions to move out, right? Too late. Second, God's mercy toward him. Verse 16, chapter 19, verse 16. Specially mentioned God's mercy. These two angels, how come they grabbed the hand of Lot and then just forced them out because of God's mercy? Right? God already gave the two angels the work to be done. They have to save Lot's family anyway. So drag them out by God's mercy. Number 3, if you look at verse 29, the Lord remember Abraham. The Lord remember Abraham. Because he is related to Abraham. So God wants to save him and his family. Okay? So, if you are someone's relative, if you are someone's relative, and if someone have a good influence to you, this is a blessing. Okay? God listened to Abraham's prayer, basically. So God especially doesn't want to make Lot be perished like Sodom. Okay, so thank God. This is the chapter 19. Let's continue chapter 20. This is another stumble of Abraham's faith. It's outline. Abraham lied again. And because God's protection, so his wife still can become his. Okay, so this is from verse 1 to 7. And then verse 8 to 18. Abraham was rebuked by the Abimelech, the king of the Philistine, actually. Abimelech publicly rebuked Abraham. How come you do this thing to us? Right? So, about 20-some years ago, Abraham already made a mistake once. He lied. Right? He covered the most important relationship between him and Sarah. Yes, they were just like a half siblings, but now in God's eye, they are husband and wife. This is most important, crucial. He cannot escape. Okay? And God intervened this incident, and God saved Sarah. And then there's a question: how come God didn't rebuke Abraham? Right? God didn't say any word to Abraham, say, you are wrong, you cannot do that. Right? But God used Abimelech, the king, to rebuke Abraham, even worse. Okay? So to Abraham, this is a big lesson he had to learn. And this is the final time of his failure. After that, then his face just going up to the mountain, to the peak. Okay. All right, so let's move on. 20 verse 2. Abraham's failure of faith. Repeat the second time. He lied to the Abimelech because he feared to be killed because of the wife. Right? Again, similarly to when he faced the Pharaoh, the Egyptian. He feared because he could not fully trust what God has promised him. Because God already delivered the message to him and also to his wife, right? Next year, now, your wife will have a child, a son, and God already named the boy Isaac. Okay. So, basically, Abraham didn't use God's promise to change his way or his lifestyle. He mentioned to the king of Abimelech in verse 12. Verse 12. He excused himself about the reason. But this reason was made, the agreement was made 20-some years ago when they just depart from Ur on the journey. But 20-some years passed already. God already revealed to Abraham so many times and also delivered the message, the promise, out of Sarah. Your descendant will be just like the star in the sky. Right? And a kingdom will be established through you. But still, he cannot really apply God's promise to his daily life and change his thinking and way. This is the problem of ours too. Sometimes we learn a lot of the knowledge and we listen so many encouragement, but at the end, we remain the same. No change at all. We behave ourselves just like Jesus. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, never change, the same. Right? No, we have to change. Okay? So once we learn, we listen, then we apply the teaching into our life. So if the previous thought or idea or our thinking is not biblical, now it's the time to change it according to God's promise and God's blessing. Okay? Because we already experienced God will protect and God will take care of the rest. Be honest and be true. And this is the one, right? We're supposed to do. Okay. God promised and also make everlasting covenant with him already. If no Sarah means no son, and then the covenant cannot be continued. It's impossible. Right? So God will definitely take care of the Sarah. How come he is full of fear and then eventually make these foolish things? It's very odd, but this is the reality. When we face challenge, sometimes we just lost our own ground. Okay, so now this is how the Lord intervened this incident. Please continue to read chapter 20, 21, 22 until 25 for today's homework. Read it carefully, okay? And read until you can remember. You can remember the story without looking the Bible, okay? So you probably have to read many times. Unless you are very smart, you read it and you remember everything. It's okay. But if you are not, you better read many times. And next time we will test. Okay? Test means I will ask you a question. Okay, let's say a silent prayer. Amen. Go to your group meeting, right? Take action now. You already lost 3 minutes. You have only 5 minutes to go.